I've just finished a coaching session with a client who is an entrepreneur who runs a business. And we were talking about um, his fear of confronting a partner and how that fear is stemming from confronting somebody who is his equal in terms of power and also where the stakes are high. And what was the impact of that on him in his well-being and also the organization, success of the organization. Very often, fear stops us from doing something that unleashes a potential in us or unleashes a capability within us to get what we want. That's fear's way of protecting us to get into something that's completely uncomfortable, to get into something that's new, that could be dangerous for us, or something that could risk a loss, whether it's a loss of reputation, whether it's loss of finance, or maybe even loss of life. So that's fear's protective mechanism. Now, in some cases, it helps us especially when you are in a forest in the middle of the night and you have a sense or fear of I shouldn't be going at a certain place because you want to physically protect yourself, then yes, you should listen to your fear and be safe. But in most situations, in our everyday lives, fear plays a role of disablement. It disables us to achieve a goal, or it disables us to do something that we really want to do, or to get a gain that we've not even fathomed. So while I was working on this topic, and fear is something that I have a very close relationship with. In fact, my whole childhood, adolescence, early adult years have been ruled by fear, where fear guided me in directions most often I didn't want to get into. Until I've came across a process to have an understanding with fear and then have a couple of tricks and tips to overcome fear. In my mind, I have just 3 simple tips whenever I get into the zone of fear. The first tip is prepare myself for the battle, which is mindset, is to acknowledge the presence of fear, say, yes, you are there, and it's okay for you to be there because you are playing a role, and whether it's to protect me or to keep me safe. So acknowledge your presence. But also in that mindset and that conversation I have with fear, I also tell it that this is something that I want badly enough to overcome even you. So in my initial years of public speaking, I had a lot of beliefs and stories, internal narratives that had all the right reasons for me not to go up on stage. But then I reached a stage where I really wanted it bad enough and acknowledged the presence of fear and said, you know what? The risks are worth it. I'm going to just go and do it. And that is usually the biggest piece of overcoming fear. It's a mindset, because it's not just one conversation. You just keep coming back to it, and then you reach a state where you either give up or you take action. That's number 2. When you take action, when you do it, that's when you really overcome fear. It's not the mindset conversations only. It's when you go and do that action. For example, again, in my case, when I stood up on the stage, when I felt the nervousness, I felt the sweat in my hands, where I forgot my entire script, I stumbled, I couldn't even speak fluently. That was my action bit of overcoming stage fright. And then the last step to overcome fear is consistency. Because guess what? When people say you do it once, you get it, it's not always true. You can still go through the whole fear for the second time again. But if you do it consistently is when you reduce fear. So when I did it for the first time on stage, yes, I was fearful. I was frozen. I forgot to even carry the mic with me when I went up on the stage, and I had to fumble to get the mic. So it was quite a funny incident the first time. The second time when I tried again, There was obviously lesser work in convincing my mindset. My action was a little better, although I still feared, I still stumbled, but more or less it was better than my first time. The third, fourth, and fifth time, I started getting close to enjoying it and loving what I was getting out of it, and enjoying the attention, and in enjoying people receiving my message, and enjoying and accepting their presence when they say that they've got something from your message, and the sense of fulfillment you get. And that happens when you consistently do it. When fear gets the message that this is no longer I need to protect you from, that you've got it. Those are, my dear, 3 steps to overcoming fear. Your mindset, doing it, action, and finally be consistent. So wishing you all the best, and let's overcome that fear for you.